Hey, welcome to Wolf's Watch. I'm Wolf, and as a leader of the pack, I'm always scouring the countryside to bring back food to feed your mindset as a leader so that you've got gold nuggets you can apply to your leadership skills, to increase your mastery as a leader, but also apply in your life. And today, I've got something to share with you that continues our conversation about, are you creating an environment are you creating something that your customers and your clients want to join, or are you just selling into the marketplace? And this is specifically about, what is your customer experience like? How is your customer experience different from your competition? And if you say you have no competition, you can go ahead and drop off right now. You don't need to watch anything else. There's always competition of some type. It may not be direct, it may be taking no action at all. There is always competition. I want to get that out of the way right up front. So what is different with your customer's experience than the experience they'd have if they were doing business with your competition? And if you can find a way to make that different, you can get a strategic advantage. You can give customers a reason to want to do business with you. And it may be that you have a comparable product, comparable service, yet the customer experience is so different that your customers want to find reasons to do business with you. They have a stronger relationship with you. They have more attraction to the experience that they have with you and your organization than the alternatives. So think about that, and think about your favorite restaurant. Is the food really that much better? And I'm not talking comparing In-N-Out Burger or McDonald's with a 5-star, a restaurant with has a chef that has 5 Michelin stars, something like that. I'm talking about, think about the restaurant that you enjoy going to the most. Of course, the food's good. You're not going to go eat someplace that's serving slop. It's not worth going out. And even during the great pandemic, that's changed a lot. Stick with me here, right? It's not worth going out to dinner to a place that has bad food. So let's take that off the item list. So it's decent food. Why is it that you go to that restaurant? Is it because it's the cheapest place? Is it because it's the most convenient place? Is it because there's someone that greets you by name, greets your significant other by name, ask how you've been, says they're glad to see you, talks with you, not at you, doesn't make you just a number, doesn't hand you, okay, it'll be 45 minutes, and hand you a pager. We'll page you when we're ready for you. Now, restaurant, if you're a restaurateur, I'm not throwing rocks at you for needing to manage having a lot of business. As a customer, what is it that you like about that restaurant? Is it the ambiance, the environment? Is it that it's nice and quiet, how people treat each other? Is it because you see other people there at the restaurant that and it's always a treat to find out, hey, let's go out for dinner tonight. Let's go with so-and-so. And you get up, dressed nice, you and your significant other looking good for each other, proud to be seen with each other. You go in, you get greeted at the door. Here's an experience I had. It used to be every Friday night before the great pandemic, we'd meet a group of friends for dinner every Friday night. We'd block off, and we arranged this with, we got a room, a banquet room in the back all to ourselves. Be anywhere from 20 to 40 people that would show up week to week, depending on what's happening. And it was always a treat to see who's going to be there. There was a core group that I enjoyed having an opportunity to talk with. It was the only chance each week I really had to sit down with them and eyeball to eyeball, break bread, and we'd have some really deep conversations. So because we prearranged this every Friday night with the restaurant, we'd block off special parking for our group. We'd block off convenient parking for the ladies that were showing up, and we'd get a count. And I did parking lot duty, get, orange cones, the whole bit, green vest, and we'd flag people in, stop traffic to make it easier for people to get in and out. And we would have the ladies have a place for them to park. We'd have escorts for them in and out. By the time we left, we'd usually close the place down. We'd be leaving at 10 o'clock. So we always make sure that the ladies had an escort out to their vehicle. And it was a lot, it was a special environment. And the restaurant was always glad to have us there. We had a great relationship with the restaurant, the servers. There would be lots of banter and talk back and forth with the staff there. And it just made for a fun environment. And it would be, we would talk with some of the other guests at the restaurant, and we had, it was a great time. Black Bear Restaurant in Torrance, California. They have if you're ever in California, they have a couple of restaurants. It's a nice family dining experience. They have good food, and they made it a fun experience. That was why I enjoyed going to the restaurant. And I managed my restaurant bill every week. Didn't order a whole lot. Tipped big. I'd order light and tip big. Something I learned from my dad. If you're going to go someplace, and thanks, Pop. I'd learned if you're going to go someplace, let your tip show that you enjoyed the experience. They'll be glad to see you come back. Be nice to them. They'll be glad to see you come back. And there would be times when we'd have a challenge and we'd talk, there were a couple of us in leadership roles. We'd pull, staff aside and say, hey, here's a little challenge we got with something. We'd work it out and we'd do it, in a nice way. And the restaurant worked with us on that. Do you create an environment like that for your customers? And how do you go about doing that? Here's something I want to share with you and I forgot to put my headphones on. Well, I'm going to need to put my headphones on real quick here. So this was from a motorsports event that I was at. So there's a very different experience at different motorsports, and it attracts different audiences, different fan bases to different things. If you've been to an automobile race or perhaps a Grand Prix race, road race or NASCAR, I've been to both road race and NASCAR and to drag races. And some of my family members were professionals in drag racing circuit, so I grew up around that. But here's something that I thoroughly enjoyed about the professional drag racing put on by the NHRA, National Hot Rod Association. Now it's known as the NHRA. So that's the sanctioned drag races. If you're not familiar with them, what you're about to see was recorded at the racetrack in Las Vegas, Nevada. And I had been invited there by Infinite Hero Foundation. We'd done some interviews with them and we're supporters of Infinite Hero Foundation. If you want to do something to help veterans that have been injured in service to the country, Infinite Hero Foundation is an incredible organization. They're doing great work. And we'll talk about that for a minute. So here's the video that I wanted to share with you. So this shot you're looking at, this is not at the track. This is actually in the pits. So NHRA has a tradition of allowing the fans to be able to go back in the pits and roam around and talk to the crews, see what's going on with the cars, to see the trucks that are used and whatnot. And what you'll see is walking up to the Infinite Hero Foundation bay, to their pit, and you'll see their semis that are there. You'll see a picture, and this is something I want to point out. So let's. I'm going to be looking down here because I've got a bigger view on the computer screen. So I always like to make eye contact with you when we're talking. So I just want to explain what I'm doing. So on the left, it just blew out my share screen. Well, let's bring that back up again. Sorry about that. Just a second, just a couple quick clicks. Boom. There we go. So we got that back. So let's see if I can, that's it. I needed to close the screen and accidentally lock that out on you. So what you'll see here, this is on this side. If you can see the cursor swirling around these two semis, that's where the Infinite Hero Foundation bay is at. Don Prudhomme is a very, very well-known, highly respected championship driver who's gone on to own his own race teams. He runs the race team he's part of Infinite Hero Foundation's board, and he also runs the race team for Infinite Hero Foundation and Make-A-Wish Foundation. So the next trailer down, the light blue one, that's Make-A-Wish Foundation. They're co-located with each other. So let's get walking up. So we're doing is we're walking through the pits, but look at it. So you got So first thing I want to point out, and this is about Infinite Hero Foundation, it has nothing to do with the racing. So if you see this gentleman right here with the pack on his back, this was, look up Infinite Hero Foundation. I forget Gary's last name. I'm so sorry, Gary. So Sergeant was a helicopter pilot that on his last mission in the Middle East, he was shot down, had a spinal injury, lost the use of his legs. He was the first recipient of this pack. What it is, it's like an exoskeleton, so it allows him to walk. And this was something that Infinite Hero Foundation helped bring to the VA, got it approved as a formal treatment through the VA, and they were able to bring through their other donors, were able to have Gary be the first recipient of this. And he got to imagine this. So he had thought he was never going to walk again, and he won't without assistance. And one of the things that was huge on his heart, and he told this story to us at dinner when I had a chance to meet him at another Infinite Hero Foundation event in Denver, Colorado. He was telling the story of how, it's just so, he's like, man, I'll never get to walk my daughter down the aisle. And that was something that just tore at him, because he'd always wanted to be able to do that. It was such a huge milestone in his daughter's life, in his family's life, and for him personally. And with the use of this pack, he got to walk his daughter down the aisle. Go to Infinite Hero Foundation's website. It's Infinite Hero Foundation, ihf.org. ihf.org. I'm not going to put a banner up for you on that. I'll put it in the comments so you can click on it and go there and see the story of how that played out. And it's just, oh man, it's hard I challenge you to watch that, the telling of that story, his telling of that story, and not be touched by that. That's why I'm such a fan, so it's one of the few, we have to limit where we put our support. And I encourage you to do that. One of the few places that we put our support is into Infinite Hero Foundation, and because they do work like that. So there's a long story behind that. So let's move on to the topic of this particular episode. So here again, looking at the trailer. So there's the trailers, and we're walking up to. But look at this! What a different experience. Now, if you go to a like the Indy 500. You can get into the infield, but that's a special. It's a special ticket. Cost you more. We're able to get into the pits in NHRA because we got a ticket. Everybody can walk around the pits, and it makes for a fun, festive environment. People are talking with each other. Met a lot of new people that were looking at cars, and asked them questions. We're asking each other questions. Who's your favorite car? Where's their trailer at? And I made it a lot of fun. At a NASCAR race, you can get into the infield, but that's a different ticket. Getting into the pits, a very, very different thing. Now, bear in mind, there's a whole different activity that's going on, like pit row, where you have the cars pulling in and out. You just can't do that. But they do allow people to engage in different ways from just sitting in the stands. There's a lot of things you can do at any motorsports race other than just sit in the stands. That may cost you, right? I mean, to be in one of the corporate boxes at the box seats with catered food and air conditioning and all that, or heat, depending on the time of the year, that's a different cost model, right? To be able to get to the infield and have your RV set up like some people do, and pop a tent out and have a tailgate party and get to meet the other people that are out. That's a different cost. To be able to go to the pits, to pit row during a NASCAR or an Indy style race or a road race, certainly doesn't make sense, because you've got high speed cars moving in and out. With drag racing, they're saying, look, we race 5 seconds at a time. So they pull in line to race. So that takes, an hour. So say one run, maybe hour and a half. And then they're back in the pits and prepping. So there's a lot of downtime. That's what created a different environment, or allowed for creating a different environment. What's the equivalent of that in your business that you can leverage to create a different environment? So this is completely different from your product and service offerings. I assume you have an excellent product and service offering. At least average, most likely, if you're watching Wolf's Watch, you most likely have above average. Maybe you're most likely top quartile of your niche, your market niche, at the very least, if not the top. So you're already more focused on performance, providing better value to the customer. This is completely different. This is without increasing or affecting your product offering or your service offering in any way other than the experience you create for your customers. How can you apply that? Or do you have a race car environment where, we can't allow getting that close because people are going to hurt? It's truly, think about that in an IndyCar race, to have spectators anywhere around pit row where you have cars rolling in and out, decelerating from 200 miles an hour down to 25 so they can roll into a pit stall that's just a little bit longer than a car. And all the activity that goes with changing wheels, if there's any adjustments that need to be made, any repairs that need to be on a flight, and then they're pulling back out. So that's a huge safety issue. Can't have people that aren't immediately involved in the race in that area because it's such a high level of training that's required. It's a high level of mastery, and it is such a catastrophic situation when something goes wrong. If someone's in the wrong place at the wrong time, people can get hurt or worse. So don't do that, but allow them in the infield. Well, what do you have in your business? Do you have this type of environment, where there's a rhythm to what you're delivering, so you can invite people in to be around more what's happening, so you can create that? Or do you have more of a pit, a Indianapolis 500 or NASCAR style pit row where it's constant motion and it is very, there's a huge safety issue. So think about this. So here's walking up again. So this is neat because you see, let me back this up just a step. So you see the little scooter here. Isn't that fun? I saw Don Prudhomme out around, riding around when we were at the race in Denver on one of these scooters in his team, the Infinite Hero Foundation team, when they need to go out to the track and back. This is used to navigate around through pit row by the staff. So they have these little things, but here's, and this is the car right here. We're walking right up to the race car. You can see people that are waiting to talk to the crew when they have time. You can ask questions. A representative came out and talked to us for a second and let us know that they were doing something with the car, getting ready for the next run. And we couldn't talk to the driver at the time. I know the driver. Go fast, Jack. Love it. Keep up the great work, Jack. We're hoping you get another world championship. He's a world championship driver. And, so here we are walking up again to the pit. So that's looking back towards the race area down pit row. So here we are right at the pit. Here's the car. Here's the lectern area, the waiting area, so that people can check in and see if there's an opportunity to talk to the driver or to some of the crew if you've got questions, or if you know someone on the crew. Because imagine that if you follow them, or if you're there every time that you're in your city for a race, you get to know people, right? So it's just a great environment. It's a very different race experience from other race venues that I had been at. And again, it's like, how can you create that connection? Right? How can you create that connection so that people are raving fans? It's not just the value they get from your product. And you have to have that. So, right, again, it's assuming you've already got high value product service that your clients, your customers like, but this is taking it someplace completely different, whole new level that has nothing to do with tweaking the product or service. This is tweaking the experience that they have, right? Because in this case, the team, they're focusing on what they have to do with their car. Yet the customers, the fans, get to be part of the experience because they can wander around in pit row, and there's safety rails up. So you got the rope set up, so it's like, so people know where to go, where not to. That's respected. People don't follow safety, they're they're moved along, because it's the culture that they've created within HRA. It's this mutual respect. So how can you create that? How can you leverage that concept so that your customers, your clients, have a different experience with you than with your competition? So again, and we'll put that away for now. So it comes back to consider that, what is your equivalent of allowing them to be able to see more of what's going on? Just think about movies, right? When the DVDs come out for a movie, there's the theatrical cut, there's the director's cut, there's the behind the scenes. Well, what are your behind the scenes? See, what I was just showing you here is the behind the scenes equivalent for the drag racing world. They allow people to be behind. So it's very, very dedicated. The fans of NHRA racing are very, very dedicated. And you could see it, in the excitement, the feel of the place, the talking with people, and how much they related to each other. So now they are there for their teams. They're there for the organization overall that sanctions the race, the sponsors. Think about that. Imagine having a group, having a fan following, a customer base that is so dedicated to your organization, so dedicated to the environment that you've created for them. They enjoy that so much that sponsors want to pay to be part of that. Could create another revenue source for yourself. So there's a lot of things. The fundamental here is the relationship you're building with your customer, one customer at a time. What's that overall experience? And is it something that you can build on these types of concepts? Make it possible for your customers to get to know each other and learn from each other, to provide feedback to you on how you can continue to evolve your products and services, but also create an environment where they get, where they can do fun stuff. Can you do an open house, do an annual open house, an annual or quarterly gathering of some type, in the environment with the Great Shutdown? A Zoom call. Do you have opportunities where you can do something? And I say Zoom, that's become popular. That's something that we use as a tool for webinars, or StreamYard, where you can do interactions. Can you do live stream with them so that they can, through whatever social media that they're connected with, every, once a month, once a quarter, they have an opportunity to talk with you. Some of the people attached with your company that they know, to bring information, other people in the industry, something that they find engaging, so that they can be part of your conversation, so they can talk with you. So it's a two-way dialogue. One of my colleagues has been doing a happy hour series, where a certain time of day in their time zone. It's in Tim Gillette in Texas. Very, very experienced virtual meetings, virtual events person, and also runs the Blog and Video Con in Dallas, which is all about content creation and how to do it effectively, how to monetize it, the insider tips and whatnot from different people in the industry. So he brings that to the table, but he just does a social hour for his friends and customers, clients, to be able to be part of, where it's just like, hey, get your favorite beverage, kick back. We're going to be on, let me know you want to join, send a link, and you can be part of that, or do something like that virtually, again, with a live broadcast like this. So food for thought. Create the experience. Focus on the experience, not just the product or service that you're doing, because people want to have a good experience around the companies that they do business with. Give them a reason to have a stronger relationship with you. Let them be part of your business, not just a customer or client to your business. Right? I'm not saying give them ownership, but let them be, acknowledge that they are a part, because it's true, right? They are a part. Make that clear to them that they are a valued part of your company by bringing them in. Let them be behind the scenes with you. That's today's thought. Thanks for joining us on Wolf's Watch. As always, please, like our Facebook page. If you're watching this on YouTube, click the subscribe button. We really appreciate that. And in the comments, hear what you're thinking. If you think this was just a bunch of hooey and I'm off track, put it in the comments. I want to hear your thinking on that. If you like it, tell me what you like most about it. If there's something you can apply in your business, share that, because other people that watch this and read the comments, they can learn from you as well. And I can also learn from what you're saying. Hey, this is what is applicable. Here's something that we innovated. Because always think about who is it that you can talk to that will help you gain those kinds of innovations, come up with innovations, and apply them. So thanks for joining this episode of Wolf's Watch. I'm Wolf, and I will see you on the trail.